Welcome to a new Team CGC 9.8 video. Today I want to do a 9.8 Showdown video. I got an Uncanny X-Men 221, first appearance of Mister Sinister in a 9.8 versus Batman Vengeance of Bane Special, #1, origin and first appearance of Bane in a CGC 9.8. So hopefully we'll just compare them and come up with a winner by the end of the video. So first one is Uncanny X-Men 221. Yeah, first appearance of Mister Sinister. Big X-Men villain key issue to consider from the late 1980s. So this one on this census, 1,469 9.8s in a universal blue label, and 29.6% is the 9.8 ratio. I've mentioned in the past, like, this one could look a little better on the census in my opinion. 29.6% of all graded copies are 9.8. You kind of wish that was, maybe like a 19 or 18% of all graded copies are 9.8. The lower the better with the 9.8 ratios. I feel like there'd be an extra couple $100 on this one for sure if it was just a little bit tougher in the 9.8. And I think that's kind of one of the main knocks on this one. And, I went after the newsstand edition because I was like, it doesn't look the best on the census maybe. So you get the newsstand edition, makes it a little bit, more of a rare collector item. So prices for Uncanny X-Men 221. Saw one sell for $430 just in the direct edition. One in the newsstand sold for $1,500 recently. We documented that on a recent video. But $430, $455. This one's been kind of on a pretty wild ride, I would say. Like pre-coronavirus, like really just pre-coronavirus, when the comic book market really started to heat up, is when I purchased this one. And the direct editions at that time were going for like $175, I would say. Picked up the newsstand for $251. Yeah, really solid deal I got just before the market really started to heat up. As the market was heating up, there was a really strong rumor that X-Men's coming back to the MCU and Mister Sinister is going to be the villain. And this one went from like that 175 to like 400, 450 pretty much overnight. It's stood around those levels for quite a while. Noticed about 6 months ago that this one was pulling back. I saw one sell for $362. That was just a few months ago too. I think maybe in the last month or two, this one's kind of perking up, and I see most selling for about $450 right now. But $362 to kind of $455 is the range I'm seeing in a direct edition. So yeah, an affordable big villain first appearance. So let's have a look at Batman Vengeance of Bane Special, #1 in a CGC 9.8. Yeah, this is, as a Batman fan, one I really like and definitely one I wanted to have in my collection. 1,079 9.8s in a blue label, so a little bit less overall 9.8s out there. 31.2% is the 9.8 ratio, so not as tough as Uncanny X-Men 221 in the 9.8. I think same kind of deal. This one could look a little bit better on the census, but in the context of, I would say they're about equal as far as the 9.8 ratio goes, because this book's a little bit newer, 1993 book. This one's a 1987 book, so you'd expect the 1987 book to be tougher in the 9.8 just because it's older. And that's, by a few percentage points on that 9.8 ratio it is. But since this one's newer, I would say they're about equal looking on the census, I would say. So recent prices on a Batman Vengeance of Bane, $686. Saw one sell for $575. Saw one sell for $750. Like, that's an overpay. I would not look to pay over $700 for this one. Even in a stealthy auction, this one was probably about a month ago, but I saw one sell for $500 on eBay. So I think the price range is kind of $500 to $686, I would say. With most, if this pops up on an auction, it's probably going to go right around $575. First appearance of Bane. I think Batman villains, there's something a little bit more special about a Batman villain, I would say. I think for Mister Sinister and X-Men key issues, there's going to be some hero key issues to like collect in there, like first appearance of Kitty Pryde, or first appearance of Jubilee, or first appearance of Gambit. Whereas like in Batman comics, there's no real other heroes. It's just Batman and Robin. I do like the Robin first appearance key issues as well as a really good value. But besides Batman and Robin, there's no other like new hero first appearances to collect. So the villain key issues end up being like pretty much the things to collect as big Batman fans. So I think, a Batman villain probably just a little bit higher on the echelon scale, I guess, as opposed to an X-Men villain maybe. So for me, I think being a big Batman fan, and maybe given that reason that I do think the Batman villains are just a little bit more iconic, especially Bane too, who's been really kind of pushed in pop culture over the years, like The Dark Knight Rises and the Batman and Robin movie he was even in, so he's been in kind of 2 movies. So I think Bane, a little bit more iconic, Batman villains, a little bit more iconic. I think it's worth it to kind of pay, ends up being about $100 or $200 more than an Uncanny X-Men. So I'd probably go with a Batman Vengeance of Bane Special #1. Me being a big Batman fan, though, so that's the thing about comic book collecting, though. It's always a personal decision. Maybe you're out there, you're the hugest X-Men fan. You know, maybe you're even a little bit excited. Maybe you want to gamble a little bit on Mister Sinister maybe being in those new MCU X-Men movies, and you probably want to go with Uncanny X-Men 221. But I think if you just kind of take them both as collector items, Batman Vengeance of Bane gets the slight edge, but then when you consider that the wild card there, that Mr. Sinister could really be in all these looking awesome in all these cool movies, you might want to go that route if you're the biggest X-Men fan. So yeah, I'd probably go with Vengeance of Bane though in the 9.8. One of my favorites, admittedly, as a big Batman fan. All right, team. Thanks so much for watching. Let me know in the comments which one you like the best. But thanks again for watching. I'll see you on the next one. If you're liking my content, please subscribe and hit that bell, and I'll keep you updated on future videos.